Another thing that's happened to me on my boat that is almost unbelievable, but it's true. Now, everything I'm telling you is true. Okay, I was at the Chaffalay Basin in Louisiana, and I was practicing for a tournament. And I actually there was 3 of us in the boat. 2 of us were up front, and one guy was in the back. And we were punching big heavy weights like that. That right there is 1.25 ounces, and we were flipping 1.5 ounces, so a little bigger. We were punching mats, and I was young, and I would never do this now. But there was an alligator swam by, and I flipped over at that alligator. I was going to catch him and I wanted to pet him. And he wasn't very big. And I flipped over there and I didn't get him. I told my buddy, I said, flip over there and get him and hook him. He's like, man, I don't want to. And I was like, oh, you sissy, hook him. Just get him, I'll unhook it, I'll give you your bait back, it's all good. And he reluctantly, he flipped over there on the alligator and he just kind of popped it about that hard, and it flipped off the alligator's back, and it went back. And my buddy was in the back, and I heard him, he's like, oh. So I thought he got a hook in his hand. He was holding his hand like this. And I was like, I'll get it, I'm good at that hook pulling deal, you know, where you pop it out with braid. And I look back there, another true story now. You can call me a liar if you want, but I'm not lying. I look back there, and in the palm of his hand, all there was braid. 2 ends of braid were coming out of it right there. So, flipping 65-pound braid, and there was braid coming out of his hand like that. The tungsten weight hit him in the hand and went all the way in, up into his finger. So I had to run him in, took him to the emergency room, and they said, what's the problem? And he showed them their hand, and they started making me fill out a gunshot paperwork for a gunshot. And I said, no, it's a weight, and all that. And so we finally got in there, and the doctor came in, he had little old glasses on, and he said, are you the boys with the fly fishing accident? You know, he had his little snips. I was like, no, man, he's got a weight in his hand. And I threw him that weight. So they did the x-rays, the coolest x-rays you've ever seen. You see the bones and the weight up there. But long story short, my buddy had to go to orthopedic surgeon to get that stuff removed, man. It was awful. So the moral of the story is, don't flip big weights at alligators. It's always, that stuff like that's always fun until you get hurt. Don't do stupid stuff like I did.